she party on the weekend. I be rolling through the streets. Yeah, different rapper every season. It ain't always been that way. No, it ain't always been that season. They gon' make a way to get you through the situation. On and on. Gotta do some things just to blow your mind. On and on. Now you walking in that favor, feeling so alive. Keep your head high to the greatest. Fresh up in the latest, and they never thought that you would make it. One look tomorrow we made it. So crazy, it's so alive. Yeah, I can go on and on, I can roll it down on the same. I really hope you ready. So much grace and favor falling on me, shower down like rain. Hi. So much grace and favor falling on me, this one you don't do the counterfeit, no, 'cause you got so much to accomplish, yeah. You on your way up to the top, you're standing and you won't stop, everything official, so official, if I had to rearrange, all the rest, feel the rain down I just need to take on. Gotta do some things just to blow your mind. On and on. Now you walking in that favor, feeling so high. Keep your head high to the greatest. Fresh with the lights, never thought that you were ready. Just raising the vibrations for the space. Just getting ready. I really hope you're ready. So much grace and favor falling on me. Shower down like rain. I really hope you're ready. So much grace and favor falling on me. This one, water, sunny, it's raining, it's good. Got it, your favor, it's on me. Hold up, put up, crowd it, should get these. We made it. The fam's here. I'm so proud of us. So much grace and favor falling on me. Shower down like rain. I really hope you're ready. So much grace and favor falling on me. That's what you do, yeah. Okay. What's the story? The Fox and the Wolf. Fox and the Wolf. Okay. Yay. Okay. So I love that song. Earlier this week, I literally heard that song, but it was on a YouTube live stream that someone was speaking and they had music in the background. And so I totally forgot Shazam existed for like an hour. And I was really obsessed with trying to figure out what the song was. So if you ever hear a song that you like and I don't happen to mention it, please ask or use Shazam. I'm going to try to remember mentioning the songs though. So this was Favor by Jordan Armstrong. This is a super sweet song. I love it. Yay! Happy Thursday. We made it. We made it. Yay. Okay. So today our story is The Fox and the Wolf. And today, what is our coping skill? I am going to take 1 second to gather my things. So let's put on some Afro Lo-Fi in the meantime. Right before this, I was on Kathy Hampton's YouTube live stream and she was journaling. So she actually gave me some really amazing advice that I would love to share with you all. So let me just get my notes. You go ahead and get comfy. Yes. Greet each other. And I'll be right back. Let me fix my heart. Okay. Wow. How awesome. Marissa says, OMG, Kathy is my new VA client. I have to catch one of her journaling sessions. We could turn that down. Okay, yeah, wow, yay! Collaboration. I am hoping that it is a beautiful, prosperous journey you two embark on together. Yes, that's a beautiful pairing. I love that. So today, her journaling session, she will pull cards from different card decks that she has, and today the card was confidence. And right before she pulled that card, I asked her a question about, let's see, I took a screenshot of what the question was. Okay. Oh, did I not? I didn't. Okay, so my question was technically about what are some tips or things to do when I'm feeling stuck. And really stuck means overthinking, like I get stuck in my head. And that was essentially my question. And I told her that deep breathing is something that I've been practicing so far. And so I want to share the beautiful advice she shared with me just a few minutes ago. And I want to promote her channel. And so that's so beautiful that Marissa, you're working with Kathy. I love this community so much. Okay. But yes, isn't that beautiful? Yes. So our coping skill for today, which I like putting it on the banner. So that was yesterday's. Let me edit this. Like I said, usually I would have been doing this beforehand, but I was so invested in Kathy's journaling sessions. Kathy Hampton, definitely recommend checking her channel out. And I posted her journaling session from this morning on my community page. So you don't have to do too much digging. Just go ahead, click that video. But yes, she loves my story times as well. She gave my little story time series a shout out. So again, I love this community. If anyone out there is looking for a community, please go to my community page, and every single person I post, there's community in there. Okay. Hey. Okay, so I am writing out our coping skill. All right. Okay. Yay! So here's our coping skill. If you look in the bio, you can read along with me. I am going to be reading from, well, I've got two different things that I'm going to read to you. But the first one is not on the bio of this video, but I will share with you. It is Psychology Today, and I will be reading to you about 10 Indigenous holistic healing practices. I'm not going to go too in depth on this Psychology Today article because little research tip for my nerdy girlies out there, which I'm sure you probably know this, is it's okay to look at one of the first things that come up in the search engine when you type in something. And if you find something that you like, it's okay to click on it. What I usually like to do is duplicate that tab. So I create two so that I can keep that article up, and then I can go to that original tab and then go back to the original search engine options and keep looking. I'll choose at least, if I'm doing a research project for myself, I would choose 2 or 3 other articles to just skim, which means you're very quickly just going over, looking at headlines, titles, subheaders, anything in bold. Yeah, right. You're just looking at what is the context that's within this article. So then when you have multiple to choose from, you have more awareness around your options and your choices of information that you would like to use. And even it gives you more discernment on, is this actually true for me? Is this really relevant to what I originally, what my intention was when I began digging for this information? Let me remind myself of what my goal is in searching for this information. What is my goal once I have the information I need? What do I need that to look like? So then all along the way, you're like doing those check marks as you're sifting through data. So this is from Psychology Today. And then the next website we will be reading from is called Australian Indigenous Health Info Net. Okay, and then this Australian Indigenous Health Info Net is on the bio. Okay, so when we talk about detoxing, so I did look up a definition that I really liked. I'm gonna look it up again though. Definition. So usually when we think about detox, it's in the context of, let's say, toxins and impurities such as alcohol, unprocessed foods, processed foods, and then some other things such as substances. They say opioids, benzos, alcohol. So drugs, these are things we can detox from. There are also other things we can detox from, right? Sometimes we can detox from habits and routines and relationships and environments that are no longer serving us. And so this is why when I thought about how do I want to speak on detox as a coping skill, do I want to limit it to what you see below? If navigating addictions, be wise and safe, limit news and social media, or do I want to expand? So we're going to do both. And that's why I looked up sources, because I'm not an expert in everything, and I know that. So let's see what our community is saying. Yay! Oh my goodness! Hi, you made it. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy you're in this space. Yay! I know. Hi. We got another one. Aw, yay. I know. Hi. Hello. All right. I know, right? This is so special. One day we're all going to be together in person. I just pray for that because that is much needed one day. So let's go ahead and get into our coping skill. Okay. So from Psychology Today, again, this title is 10 Indigenous Holistic Healing Practices. So let's go over a little quick cultural history. So Ross is the interviewer. Ross interviewed First Nation holistic traditions. Okay, this is what Ross researched. First Nation holistic traditions that heal instead of punish, that connect instead of maintaining disconnection, and that regenerate trust instead of allowing distrust to fester. Ross first gives the backdrop of the massive intergenerational damage caused by the cultural genocide practices that First Nation peoples faced with the invasion of the Western Europeans, including the intentional kidnapping of children from Indigenous families to assimilate them to the dominant culture as late as the 1980s. And I am going to be doing further research on this topic of Indigenous culture, of the history in our schooling, and even the separation of our families in my research edition series. So I'm reading this just for general context, and I will just be transparent. I would like personally to do further research on some of these statements, like um, this last sentence, including the intentional kidnapping of children from Indigenous families to assimilate them to the dominant culture as late as the 1980s. I would want to do my full own research on all of that, because I know good and well before the 1980s things like this were happening. I know good and well. So that's a tangent, but I just want to let you know, stay tuned to my channel, Research Edition. I am completely interested in diving deep into this. And this is something that I speak with my grandpa about. And I would love to connect with other elders in the community, or other or other community members who are connected with their families, or with older community members that have either heard of these stories and are willing to pass them on, those testimonies, or even if they haven't had space to share that with anyone yet. I would like to hold space for that, because these stories are so important to me. And articles like this exist out there. And so we need more of us to be writing stories like this, so we have more context for our culture. Okay, so I'll keep reading. Just want to put that in there. Okay. Generations of First Nation peoples have been mistreated and still are told that their ways are worthless, backward, and even evil. For hundreds of years, governments and churches did all they could to remove the Indian from the person, to save their soul, make them a real citizen, or even make them human. As a result of mistreatment in residential schools, away from their families and traditions, many First Nation members were traumatized through abuse and other forms of mistreatment. They lost their traditional languages and cultures, but were never accepted into mainstream culture either. The pain and trauma caused have bubbled into epidemics of violence, domestic and sexual abuse, drug and alcohol abuse, and suicide in First Nation communities. So, the reason why I wanted to share this is because I will not, in this channel, I will do my best to put us in a situation where, when we see this word detox, and when we are aware of the concept of, for ourselves, okay, you know what, this thing isn't serving me anymore, I need to release it. Where the compassion comes in is the more context you have in what got you there. So when I see certain, and I'm just going to speak from my own professional and personal experience in the mental health field, if someone were speaking to me about a solution, or an evidence-based practice that has been tested, I need to know that they have context when they're talking to me. Because if something worked for someone else or a multitude of other people, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. And so when I was a therapist for children, a lot of the times I needed to connect with the parents first. I needed to understand, what is the family dynamic like? What is the cultural background? How long have you been in this country? Because
where I have my understanding and where my level is, their level was a lot of the time somewhere else, and I use them as the expert. That's called cultural humility. And so when we go over this next article, this is all about that. Of course, everyone's culture is going to have differences. I just really resonated with what this next website, Australian Indigenous Health Infonet, and under their topic of healing, I really resonated with what they said. They have healing programs. I would love for us in our community to continue on our mission of doing our passion projects and asking for help and connecting and collaborating with each other in our community so that we can create more things like this that I'm about to read. Okay, so here we go. And again, this link of what I'm about to read is in the bio. So awesome. All right. So they call it the Healing Foundation. Since 2012, the Healing Foundation has funded healing initiatives for stolen generations and okay, let me give some clarity. Stolen generations are the people who, in the last article, we were talking about the cultural genocide and the separation of families and a lot of the abuse and pain that has just been endured, and lots of the people we lost and have been separated from. That's the stolen generations. Okay. So since 2012, the Healing Foundation has funded healing initiatives for stolen generations, survivors, and descendants. Community-led, sounds like a third space. That's just my side note. Community-led, these programs have been centered on creating healing environments, which are fostered through 4 key elements: coming together with other survivors to share stories of pain, hope, and renewal, reconnecting and strengthening culture and identity, trauma-aware, healing-informed services and responses, healing solutions led by and for stolen generation survivors. Successful healing programs must be survivor-led. Stolen generations, Aboriginal corporations work with survivors, descendants, and communities to promote healing in different ways, including through healing circles, art programs, family history research, and reunions, oral history collection, education programs, redress support, women's healing spaces, men's healing spaces, and social and emotional well-being support. I'm going to read a little bit more about the men and the women. When thinking about healing for Aboriginal, and so this specifically is speaking about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, okay? So, but again, every culture is different, and so there might be similarities, there might be differences. So just wanted to let you know, this is who they are talking about in this website. But it just, again, it resonated so much with me. I wanted to share it with you. So let's actually go up. Okay. So this is their Stolen Generation Resource Kit for teachers and students. So this is created by Florence Onis and her granddaughter. How beautiful. I want a legacy like this. Okay, I'll keep reading. I digress. Healing can happen through many different ways and can be individual and collective. Individual healing happens when survivors and their descendants have the tools and support that they need to lead their own healing journey. Individual healing can look like sharing personal stories, connecting back to culture and country, connecting with family and community, and working directly with health professionals. It can mean being part of healing programs, truth-telling, and participating in collective healing. When thinking about healing for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, it is important to remember that men and women might need access to different types of healing support. The breakdown of traditional knowledge systems and roles has resulted in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander men suffering from trauma with symptoms including poor health, poor social and emotional well-being, low self-esteem, substance misuse, family violence, incarceration, and suicide. It is important that men lead healing programs to address unresolved trauma. Evidence from the Healing Foundations programs that have been designed in collaboration with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander men identifies 8 key themes to strengthen and protect men's spirits, families, culture, communities, and roles, and helps them to heal. Education, taking their place as strong learners and teachers. Employment, taking their place as strong providers. Health, taking their place as strong men. Identity, being stronger in themselves and their place as leaders. Law, taking their place as positive role models. Relationships, taking their place as nurturers. Resources, empowered in their various roles. Safety, taking their place as protectors. Many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women have experienced high levels of trauma, including the grief and loss of having their children forcibly removed and exposure to various forms of violence. This means that many women experience symptoms of trauma, including depression, anxiety, poor physical health, and substance abuse, which can keep them in cycles of trauma and increase the occurrence of intergenerational trauma. Many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women also carry the burden of supporting their communities and families through child rearing, which carries with it not only family, community, and cultural responsibilities, but also the unresolved trauma associated with the historical dislocation of mothers and their children. Healing for women needs to be led by women, where safety and well-being is fostered. Programs designed for women to support other women through healing journeys while reconnecting them back to family, culture, and country can provide women with an intergenerational strength that supports their esteem, pride, and place in community while improving their physical and social and emotional well-being. So that was individual healing. Collective healing happens when stolen generations survivors, descendants, and their communities are supported and empowered to heal through group activities such as family reunions and participating in healing programs. This is particularly important for stolen generation members who were institutionalized and who often share a kinship bond with people who were institutionalized at the same places. Collective healing broadens the scope of who does healing and who healing is for. It means moving away from a model where expert professionals work with individuals to a model where individuals develop their own skills and capacities to empower healing in themselves, their families, and communities. Collective healing engages all participants to grow circles of relationships that foster healing across communities. Whatever form it takes, collective healing involves bringing people with similar experiences together, often with their children and grandchildren, in a safe space where they can share, get to know their own story, build understanding and skills, and take positive steps towards a better future. All right. So I hope that you loved hearing that as much as I did. I loved reading that. I feel so empowered just after reading that out loud. So let's see what the community's saying. Yeah. Goals. That's us. We're goals. Yes, so much love in the morning. Okay. Marissa says, this is so very crucial. There are thousands of years of knowledge prior to colonization that we can pull from. Ooh, and isn't that true? Whew, right. Absolutely. Isn't that the truth? Absolutely. Marissa says, so key. Social work praises evidence-based practice, but leaves our lived experiences. And how does that work? Make it make sense. The math isn't mathing. Right. Like all this, and you know what? When I was in school, and even after I was in school, the NASW, the National Association of Social Workers, their code of ethics is probably the closest we get to that. But every individual social worker doesn't practice it in the way it's written. So that's a topic for another day because professionals are not created equally. And what's professional? Okay, Enough by MNT says, I have never heard that phrase before. Cultural humility. I love that. Really? Okay, well, that's okay. That is perfect. Let's go ahead and look up the definition. Okay. So, cultural humility. Let's see. Cultural humility is a practice of self reflection on how one's own background and the background of others impact teaching, learning, research, creative activity, engagement, leadership, etc. Cultural humility recognizes that within many disciplines, professionals must consider and address the biases they personally hold. So there was a term called cultural competence, and that's essentially competence means you can be an expert in something essentially after you've studied it for so long. We know with culture, that's not necessarily how it works at all. You can even be from a culture. That doesn't make you an expert in someone else who is also from that culture, right? Something I learned when I learned a lot about autism is that if you meet one person with autism, that's it. You've met one person with autism. That doesn't mean you know how to interact or know what the lived experiences are of other people with autism because you met and interact with one person with it. So cultural humility kind of has the same feel and energy behind it, that I am allowing the other person who's from this experience, living this experience, is going through these processes, they're the expert. And so when professionals are utilizing cultural humility, the client should feel that. They should be as much, if not more, of a not leader, but participant, collaborator with the professional, instead of the professional having everything set up and then the client just goes along with everything. Like it has to be both, right? So that's what I feel cultural humility really is. And it should be used more often. It really should just be point blank period the main thing where the main way we're interacting with clients. However, lots of professionals with titles and degrees and credentials, they do feel like there's some type of hierarchy, and that creates an unequal, unequitable ground for collaboration. So, yeah. Thank you for letting me know about that. I love sharing that definition. Marissa says, that is what YouTube has done for me. It has felt so much like a group healing circle. Yes, right? Oh, wow. This are healing spaces. And I just want to applaud us because we decided to go to each other's channels. We decided to make our own channel. We decide to feed into ourselves enough so we can show up in these healing ways. Um, that's just amazing. That was a choice. We could have chosen otherwise, yet we're here. So I agree with you. I agree. And even our spaces outside of YouTube, so many of us are creating that, have a passion to continue what we're beginning here and what we're maintaining here. The maintenance of a collective, like checking in with each other, is so beautiful, and what the internet really has graced us with. Because I don't think I live near any of you that close, but I still wake up in the morning and get just as excited to be here with you online as if I was going over to your house and we were going to have tea. So yeah, I agree. Let's see. Enough by M&T. Yes, Marissa, me too. I was just about to say that. All four of you ladies are creating those healing spaces for women on YouTube. Yay! Go us! Go us! Go, 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 go. Okay. I'm feeling so good today. I'm telling you, something about going to Kathy's live stream this morning. She lifted me up. Oh, I want to share the tips she gave me. Let me not forget that. So Kathy Hampton on YouTube. Let me read what Marissa said first. I'm just so excited this morning. Okay. Marissa says at Enough by M&T. And you too. It's a beautiful space to be a part of, and I'm grateful. Yes, I don't know if I told you all, but Enough by M&T, she inspired my story times. So she was already reading on YouTube, and at first I was like, should I start a Zoom and invite certain people and just get their email and if they want to join the book club? And then I saw Enough by M&T. She has been reading The Vein of Gold, the artistic way or artistic journey. Please correct me if I'm please correct me. But she's been reading a book on creativity, and they have exercises and practices. And watching her consistently show up and read that book aloud, I loved it. And I was like, I have so many books in my house. Why just choose one book for one book club? Just start a YouTube channel, create a storytime series, and read multiple books, whichever ones you want. So yeah, that's how that became about. So yes, inspiration all the way around. So on that note of inspiration, I want us to think about the advice Kathy gave me this morning. So the card that she read on confidence read this: my effort deserves recognition. I show myself that I can do what I set my mind to do. So confidence. I am confident in my ability to blank. So this is a prompt. I should write this actually. After I read it, I'll put it in the comments so you can have it as well. So confidence. I am confident in my ability to blank because I appreciate the time and effort it took for me to invest in my skills. So yes, confidence. Again, check the community page if you want to look at this journaling session. You can watch it because she has a replay. You could even see the question I asked if you wanted to, because she was giving me all of these gems that I want to share with you. And isn't that a perfect example of just connecting with other women in your community and just asking them what they do in that situation? I really have been trying to keep in mind. I'm not the only one who's been going through a situation like this before. I really try to remind myself. Okay, confidence. I am confident in my ability to blank because I appreciate the time and effort it took for me to invest in my skills. Yes, so Marissa says, there is a kinetic energy created when we are inspired by each other. Ooh, I love that word, kinetic energy. Oh, that is so beautiful. Yes, we do. Especially the right people. Yes. Okay. Enough by M&T says, I love that. Life is remarkable because I was inspired by something you said once in the garden to start reading on YouTube. Yay! We're doing it. We're doing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, yes, I'm going to go ahead and leave this up. This is a journal prompt from Kathy Hampton. Go ahead and check out that community page. Also on the community page, check out Alicia Renice. I posted a meditation rest practice that she has on her YouTube channel. So that's what we are going to be promoting today. She has an amazing array of talents, especially in regards to healing and creativity. So if you want to tap into your creativity, you want to tap into a healing practice, go and check out Alicia Renice, the artist. Okay, so some of the tips she gave to be able to clear, because what I was sharing with her was my overthinking. So I was asking her what are some things that works for her. Yay, of course, thank you. So she advised me when I might feel stuck or I'm overthinking, here's what might help. And she said before doing each of these things to set an intention. And again, an intention. And speaking of intentions, Marissa Price and I at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, did a live stream together interview on setting intentions for the new year. So to keep that going, Kathy gracefully reminded me to remember to set an intention before I do each step, right? So when I notice I'm overthinking, I notice I'm in my head, she said, set an intention. How do you want this to feel when you engage in it? Okay. Clear my mind of those areas that keep me overthinking. Get in touch with each and every moment. She said, I can go on a long walk. She said, in nature, I can observe using my senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, breathe. If I pass a flower, I can feel my heartbeat. I can feel my breath. I can smell fresh air. I can hear the hum of a car engine in the driveway. What am I observing? How am I using my senses? She said, I can also do grief breath work. Deep breathing. She said it calms my vagus nerve. She said I can journal. She said I can sit still on a park bench, which is another form of meditation. And again, setting an intention before I do each thing, whichever one I choose, whichever multitude I choose. And then she gave 2 meditation apps. So Kathy Hampton on YouTube, check her out. So she said I can use the Insight timer. So I'll go ahead and share it as well because she took the time to share this with me. So I will share this with you. So she set the Insight timer app. And then she also said people like to use Calm, which is an app. But these are mindfulness apps. Or, no, she said these are meditation apps. And you can even choose how long you want your meditation to be. So she likes Insight Timer. And I'm going to try that one out. I'll keep you all updated. But yes, I hope this has been useful and beneficial to share with you all. And that was our coping skill for the day. So for detox, it can be any addiction, any routine, any habit, even any state of being. I might need to detox from consuming lies about my culture. It's everywhere. Let's just give a really good example. Black History Month. Lots of people that I follow are saying clarification for them. They feel like it resonates more with them to say it's Aboriginal History Month. So whatever your identity is, identify with that. Maybe you might need to detox from an identity that was handed to you, force-fed to you. And we have the ability in this time and era to Say who we are. Say who you are. I say who I am. I am a Niji. I am from this land. I am a creation of many generations of strong, resilient, sensitive, vulnerable, warrior, healer, um, scribes, and caretakers, and engineers, and cooks, and travelers, writers, singers, praisers, just so many different things. So, who are you? Yeah. Okay. So, I've been on my soapbox for 45 minutes now, so I'll hop off. But our story of the day is the fox and the wolf. Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you for everyone that is still present. Thank you so much. Yay! Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm excited for today's story. It looks like it's a little shorter than yesterday's. Yes, it is. Okay, so this story is from Cuentos Populares por Antonio de Trueba. Yay! Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Our gifts and talents have been cultivated over many generations. Marissa, that is beautiful. Put it on a shirt, girl. I love when people say put it on a shirt. Like, okay, I got my giggles out. Are we ready? Okay, we're gonna take that out. The Fox and the Wolf. Okay. The Fox and the Wolf. At the foot of some high mountains, there was once upon a time a small village, and a little way off, two roads met, one of them going to the east and the other to the west. The villagers were quiet, hard-working folk who toiled in the fields all day and in the evening set out for home when the bell began to ring in the little church. In the summer mornings, they led out their flocks to pasture and were happy and contented from sunrise to sunset. One summer night, when a round full moon shone down upon the white road, a great wolf came trotting round the corner. I positively must get a good meal before I go back to my den, he said to himself. It is nearly a week since I have tasted anything but scraps, though perhaps no one would think it to look at my figure. Of course, there are plenty of rabbits and hares in the mountains, but indeed, one needs to be a greyhound to catch them, and I am not so young as I was. If I could only dine off that fox I saw a fortnight ago, curled up into a delicious hairy ball, I should ask nothing better. I would have eaten her then, but unluckily her husband was lying beside her, and one knows that foxes, great and small, run like the wind. Really, it seems as if there was not a living creature left for me to prey upon but a wolf. And, as the proverb says, one wolf does not bite another. However, let us see what this village can produce. I am as hungry as a schoolmaster. Now, while these thoughts were running through the mind of the wolf, the very fox he had been thinking of was galloping along the other road. The whole of this day I have listened to those village hens clucking till I could bear it no longer, murmured she as she bounded along, hardly seeming to touch the ground. When you are fond of fowls and eggs, it is the sweetest of all music. As sure as there is a sun in heaven, I will have some of them this night, for I have grown so thin that my very bones rattle, and my poor babies are crying for food. And as she spoke, she reached a little plot of grass, where the two roads joined, and flung herself under a tree to take a little rest. and to settle her plans. At this moment, the fox came up. At the sight of the fox lying within his grasp, his mouth began to water. But his joy was somewhat checked when he noticed how thin she was. The fox's quick ears heard the sound of his paws, though they were as soft as velvet, and turning her head, she said politely, "Is that you, neighbor? What a strange place to meet. I hope you are quite well." "Quite well as regards my health," answered the wolf, whose eye glistened greedily. "At least as well as one can be when one is very hungry. But what is the matter with you? A fortnight ago, you were as plump as heart could wish." "I have been ill, very ill," replied the fox. "And what you say is quite true. A worm is fat in comparison with me." "He is. Still, you are good enough for me, for to the hungry, no bread is hard." "Oh, you are always joking. I'm sure you were not half as hungry as I." "That we shall soon see," cried the wolf, opening his huge mouth and crouching for a spring. "What are you doing?" exclaimed the fox, stepping backwards. "What am I doing? What am I going to do is to make my supper off you in less time than a cock takes to crow." "Well, I suppose you must have your joke," answered the fox slightly, but never removing her eye from the wolf, who replied with a snarl, which showed all his teeth, "I don't want to joke, but to eat." "But surely a person of your talents must perceive that you might eat me to the very last morsel and never know that you had swallowed anything at all." "In this world, the cleverest people are always the hungriest," replied the wolf. "Ah, how true that is. But I can't stop to listen to your buts and yets," broke in the wolf rudely. "Let us get to the point. And the point is that I want to eat you and not talk to you." "Have you no pity for a poor mother?" asked the fox, putting her tail to her eyes, but peeping slyly out of them all the same. "I am dying of hunger," answered the wolf doggedly. "And you know," he added with a grin, "that charity begins at home." "Quite so," replied the fox, "and it would be unreasonable of me to object to your satisfying your appetite at my expense. But if the fox resigns herself to the sacrifice, the mother offers you one last request." "Then be quick and don't waste time, for I can't wait much longer. What is it you want?" "You must know," said the fox, "that in this village there is a rich man who makes in the summer enough cheeses to last him for a whole year, and keeps them in an old well, now dry, in his courtyard. But the well hang two buckets. Oh, by the well hang two buckets on a pole that were used in former days to draw up water. For many nights I have crept down to the place and have lowered myself in the bucket, bringing home with me enough cheese to feed the children. All I beg of you is to come with me, and instead of hunting chickens and such things, I will make a good meal off cheese before I die." "But the cheeses may be all finished by now." "If you were only to see the quantities of them," laughed the fox, "and even if they were finished, there would always be me to eat." "Well, I will come. Lead the way, but I warn you that if you try to escape or play any tricks, you are reckoning without your host. That is to say, without my legs, which are as long as yours." All was silent in the village, and not a light was to be seen but that of the moon, which shone bright and clear in the sky. The wolf and the fox crept softly along, when suddenly they stopped and looked at each other. A savory smell of frying bacon reached their noses, and reached the noses of the sleeping dogs, who began to bark greedily. "Is it safe to go on, think you?" asked the wolf in a whisper, and the fox shook her head. "Not while the dogs are barking," she said. "Someone might come out to see if anything was the matter." and she signed to the wolf to curl himself up in the shadow beside her. In about half an hour, the dogs grew tired of barking, or perhaps the bacon was eaten up and there was no more smell to excite them. Then the wolf and the fox jumped up and hastened to the foot of the wall. Hastened to the foot of the wall. I am lighter than he is, thought the fox to herself, and perhaps if I make haste, I can get a start and jump over the wall on the other side before he manages to spring over this one. And she quickened her pace. But if the wolf could not run, he could jump, and with one bound he was beside his companion. What were you going to do, comrade? Oh, nothing, replied the fox, which much vexed at the failure of her plan. I think if I were to take a bite out of your haunch, you would jump better, said the wolf, giving a snap at her as he spoke. The fox drew back uneasily. Be careful, or I shall scream, she snarled, and the wolf, understanding all that might happen if the fox carried out her threat, gave a signal to his companion to leap on the wall, where he immediately followed her. Once on the top, they crouched down and looked about them. Not a creature was to be seen in the courtyard, and in the furthest corner from the house stood the well, with its 2 buckets suspended from a pole, just as the fox had described it. The 2 thieves dragged themselves noiselessly along the wall till they were opposite the well, and by stretching out her neck as far as it would go, the fox was able to make out that there was only a very little water in the bottom, but just enough to reflect the moon, big and round and yellow. How lucky, cried she to the wolf. There is a huge cheese about the size of a mill wheel. Look, look, did you ever see anything so beautiful? Never, answered the wolf, peering over in his turn, his eyes glistening greedily, for he imagined that the moon's reflection in the water was really a cheese. And now, unbeliever, what have you to say? And the fox laughed gently. That you are, excuse me. Excuse me? This next line it got me kind of choked up. Oh my gosh, okay. That you are a woman, I mean a fox, of your word, replied the wolf. Like, the wolf really didn't think to say fox. He said woman. Sorry, that's just funny to me. Okay. Okay. Oh, is that your game? Asked the wolf with a grin. No, no. The person who goes down in the bucket will be you. And if you don't go down, your head will go without you. Of course I will go down with the greatest pleasure, answered the fox, who had expected the wolf's reply. And be sure you don't eat all of the cheese, or it will be the worse for you, continued the wolf. But the fox looked up at him with tears in her eyes. Farewell, suspicious one, she said sadly, and climbed into the bucket. In an instant, she had reached the bottom of the well and found that the water was not deep enough to cover her legs. Why, it is larger and richer than I thought, cried she, turning towards the wolf, who was leaning over the wall of the well. Then be quick and bring it up, commanded the wolf. How can I, when it weighs more than I do? Asked the fox. If it is so heavy, bring it in 2 bits, of course, said he. But I don't have a knife. But I have no knife, answered the fox. You will have to come down yourself, and we will carry it up between us. And how am I to come down? Inquired the wolf. Oh, you are really very stupid. Get into the other bucket that is nearly over your head. The wolf looked up and saw the bucket hanging there, and with some difficulty he climbed into it. As he weighed at least 4 times as much as the fox, the bucket went down with a jerk, and the other bucket, in which the fox was seated, came to the surface. As soon as he understood what was happening, the wolf began to speak like an angry wolf, but was a little comforted when he remembered that the cheese still remained to him. But where is the cheese? He asked of the fox, who in turn was leaning over the parapet watching his proceedings with a smile. The cheese, answered the fox. Why, I am taking it home to my babies, who are too young to get food for themselves. Ah, traitor! Cried the wolf, howling with rage. But the fox was not there to hear this insult, for she had gone off to a neighboring fowl house, where she had noticed some young, fat chickens the day before. Perhaps I did treat him rather badly, she said to herself, but it seems getting cloudy, and if there should be heavy rain, the other bucket will fill and sink to the bottom, and his will go up. At least it may. Yay! That was such a cute story. I loved that. So this was from Cuentos Populares por Antonio de Trueba. Yay! Okay. The fox and the wolf. Woo! The fox needed, oh no, the wolf needed a detox from trying to ruin the fox's family. I'm like always trying to do some type of connection with the story, but that was so nice. To the hungry, no bread is hard, right? They said, I'll take anything. And it's that part. Like, woo, we have choices. But when it seems like there's no choice, we'll go with something and we'll tell ourselves, nope, this is for me. But it's because it's what we think we have available to us. We're just picking from the pot instead of creating or knowing that there's more than this. Like I'll choose this, but I know there's more than this. This is okay for right now, but I know in the future I'll want to elevate this, or this will need to evolve or transform with the phases of my evolution. Yes. Whew. Yay! Yes, that was a shorter story. I hope that was okay what I read this morning. I know that information can about just our families, our generations, just healing spaces. I know that can be a bit heavy for the morning, but I really try to like create a balance in these live streams. So I hope that it has been okay. Yay! Awesome. So it is Thursday. I just want to celebrate all of us. We have been able to go officially, I think, a full week, because including the first 2 days of February, or no, the first, second, fifth, sixth, seventh, and today's the 8th. So this is day 6. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh, we're doing it. So the full month of February, I'm doing this. I'm going to hold myself accountable to keep showing up. And I am so grateful for Kathy Hampton from this morning for having her live stream as well, because that got my brain going in a way that I needed it. So thank you so much for showing up, for holding me accountable, for enjoying story time, and for being in community with me. My life is just becoming bigger and brighter and better each time I do this, because I'm showing up for myself and you're showing up with me. And I love my life. I hope you love yours. Okay, so we are going to head out. Here is a journal prompt just to end. I'm going to take 2 minutes to just breathe. So I'm going to put on a breathing. I'm just going to put on some lo-fi, and then I'm just going to breathe. And if you want to stick around, breathe with me. This is Afro Lo-Fi. And let's see. I really like her third eye intuition. That's really nice. But I just want to breathe. Here's a journal prompt. And yeah, if there's anything else. Yay! Awesome. Yay, let's go ahead and breathe together. Okay. We will do 2 minutes. Gonna put a timer. Okay, awesome. And we're just gonna breathe. Okay. Thank you so much for joining Story Time this morning. Enjoy. Okay, that was really fast. Okay, let's set our intention for the day. Okay, my intention is I am capable of achieving my goals with peace and ease. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Much love, family. Until tomorrow. Wado. Check out Kathy Hampton. Check out Alicia Renice, the artist. Check out my community page. And until next time, enjoy your beautiful day. See you.